Welcome to today's Dragon Rider training number 2, because we just are doing a double header today. So I just finished doing Dragon Rider training, keep your seat, strengthening and conditioning. And now we're on to today's originally planned lunchtime learning, which is Dragon Rider training introduction to grounding. Now this is inspired, like all of our Dragon Rider training, by the Empyrean Series, so Fourth Wing, Iron Flame. Also, as well, as I get more into the Dragon Fantasy, there's a lot of tie-in into like the Game of Thrones and the it's a Lorien, I think it's a Lorien series. That's like Flameborn series that I read. Just overall, the connections that a Dragon Rider has to its dragon, in terms of the telekinesis and speaking to it. So the more I dive into Dragon Fantasy, the more this is more than just Empyrean Series, it's just overall Dragon Rider training. But anywho, introduction to grounding, what is it? Well, grounding helps you create a personal mental sanctuary where you can find peace and stability. Now I know the word peace is very hippie for a lot of people. It's like, oh, I can't find peace, I'm too busy. But for me, it's not just like sitting down while nothing happens around me. It's important to find peace and solitude in chaos. And that's what grounding helps you do. So it's a technique that is crucial to managing stress and staying connected to yourself, to who you are, to your dragon, but also not getting emotionally overwhelmed by maybe your dragon or others in your environment. So we're going to dive into a beginner Dragon Rider training grounding exercise to experience the full benefits firsthand. Now, as I said, this is about building a unique mental space. So we're going to be building it visually, not just like looking around. We're going to close our eyes and look around in our mind. So this is inspired specifically by the scene where Xaden helps Violet learn how to ground and helps her find where she is peaceful and has solitude and feels anchored. And for her, that's the archives. For us, it may be somewhere else. But we're going to find that mental anchor so that we can prevent burnout, manage stress, and stay connected with who we are. So with that being said, I want you to close your eyes. I'm not going to close my eyes because I'm going to look at you guys and talk to you, but I want you to close your eyes and take a few deep breaths in through the nose, out through the nose. And I want you to imagine a place where you feel completely safe and at peace. It could be a real location, maybe your home, maybe a place you vacationed, a cabin, a theme park, a spot in the woods. It can be in nature. It can be an imaginary sanctuary that you dream of. And I want you to visualize this place in great detail. Notice the colors, the walls or the sky, the floor or the grass or the sand, the textures, the sounds. Are there animals? Do you hear birds chirping? Is there a TV on? Maybe if you're at home, do you hear loved ones in the background? Maybe laughing? Really build this place in detail. As you explore your grounding space, I want you to firmly find your feet on the ground. So keep your eyes closed, but really maybe move your toes. Make sure that we're rooted deeply into where we're standing. Now I want you to envision how your feet feel standing in your anchor, standing in your sanctuary. How rooted they feel, how secure they feel. Focus on the sensation of your feet touching the ground. Feel the sense of calm and stability it brings. Continue to visually build your sanctuary. whether it's a lush forest or a serene beach, maybe a mystical mountain, a cozy library, a peaceful cabin, maybe even an island floating in the sky. The key is that it feels safe to you. It feels at home. Now imagine the smells. What do you smell? Maybe if you're at a home or a cabin, maybe you smell fresh cooking. I don't know, I think of apple pie. Maybe if you're at the beach, you smell the water. In the forest, you can smell the dirt and the trees. I love the smell of the forest, honestly. Maybe you have candles burning. What scents do you smell in your sanctuary? Continue spending time, maybe a few more moments, to immerse yourself completely in this space. Take 3 more deep breaths here, in through the nose and out through the nose. Slowly come back to reality. You can wiggle your toes, open your eyes. And I want you to know that anytime you feel stressed or overwhelmed, you can return to this space in your mind to find calm and balance. And you may not be able to close your eyes completely, but you can take a minute and remember the place that makes you feel strong, empowered, and stable. And then continue about your day of whatever you're doing. So with that being said, after doing your first grounding exercise, congratulations, you are now a dragon rider if you weren't already. I want to ask you guys some questions that you can ask yourself. Maybe you can write them down and journal about them later. When it comes to building this mental space or this mental anchor in your grounding, what did you see? Think about it now that you're reflecting back on it. What did you see? Were you surprised that you saw it? Were you expected to see that area, that imaginary sanctuary, that cabin in the woods, whatever it was? What was your expectations when building this area? When you firmly planted your feet in your mental space, how did that feel for you? In terms, like physically, like the textures, yes, but also like what emotions did you feel? Did you feel peace? Did you feel joy, safety, confidence, maybe something else? So just some questions to think of to reflect on your grounding experience and your mental space. Now, I encourage you to spend time practicing, visiting your grounding space at least once a day, maybe 5 to 10 minutes. This is a mindfulness exercise, and there is science behind practicing just 5 minutes a day of slow breathing and mindfulness techniques that can help you reap the benefits of mindfulness and meditation through a way that is fun for us. So continue practicing, maybe 5 to 10 minutes, visualizing this place, focusing on the sensations, focusing how you're feeling, and continue using this grounding tool. Now, as I said, grounding is a powerful tool that will help you stay centered and manage stress, so keep practicing, and we'll build upon this foundation next week, Friday at 1 p.m. for our next Lunchtime Learning Dragon Rider Training Introduction to Shielding. So we did grounding today, and we're going to do shielding next week. Now, if you want to dive more into Introduction to Grounding and Shielding, so today's 10-minute session isn't enough, next week's 10-minute session isn't enough, and you want more, you have a couple different options. You can attend one of our Fantasy Fitness in-person classes, or we also have a Lead Achievers Nexus app. For those of you who don't know about it yet, it's our Nexus app is what we call it, and we have memberships where you have access to over 20 plus fantasy-based programs. Now we have a Dragon Rider training 4-week grounding and shielding meditation program. So it's a 30-day mindfulness and meditation program that focuses on teaching you powerful techniques like the one we did today of grounding and the one we'll do next week of shielding. Now, over the 4 weeks, you'll engage in weekly videos with me, and I will give you, just like today, instruct you through the practice. And then I'll give you questions of reflection to fill out in your journal. And then I'll give you homework as well to do until you get to the next video. And I'll do that for the total of the 4 weeks. And this will help you learn the basics of breath work, learn the basics of grounding, learn advanced grounding, advanced shielding, introduction to shielding techniques, which are all aspects of guided meditation and guided visualizations. So this will help you practice and perfect these techniques over time. As well, if you do the program, you do get community support. So anyone who's in our Nexus app, there is a chat feature where you can chat with me and Coach Kelsey directly. So if you have any questions, you can ask along the way. Now, if you want to know a little bit in more detail of the layout, in week 1, you'll learn the basics of breath work, introduction to grounding, and visualization of grounding. Then week 2, you'll do advanced grounding techniques, introduction to shielding, basic mental shielding. And then week 3, we focus on shielding from external influences, shielding against emotional overwhelm, and combining grounding and shielding together while being able to multitask, because it's good to be able to, be in a quiet space and meditate and close your eyes and do the things, but it's really hard to do that when you're in a stressful situation. And the reason breath work is so important is because it's a tool that we can take with us and regulate ourselves in the world. So it's not something that we just do in our home on our yoga mat, but it's something we can take with us when we're at work or with our family or with people we don't like in the community, so that we can regulate ourselves and be our best selves, whether that's a dragon rider or just a civilian. So that's where we come to week 4, where we apply these techniques in daily life. We do advanced shielding and protection and personalizing your practice so that you can take this with you as you leave the 30-day program. So again, this program is perfect for anyone who's looking to manage stress, prevent burnout, and enhance overall mental and emotional resilience. And by participating in this program, you'll gain the tools to prevent burnout, because it's not just about managing stress, but it's about preventing it next time. That's resiliency, is yes, taking care of the stress you feel, but then learning how to prevent stress in the future as well, and prevent how things affect you negatively. So techniques to manage your emotions and skills to build a strong mental foundation and protect against external influences. So we are releasing this full program next Friday after the introduction to shielding class, as well as our Dragon Riders Keep Your Seat Strength and Conditioning 12-week program. So if you want access to these full programs and you want a Nexus app membership, or you want access to the Survive Your Gauntlet program, Valkyrie Bodyweight Bootcamp, Phoenix Fat Loss program, any of the fantasy fitness programs that we have, I'm going to put the link down in the comments so you guys can learn more. Other than that, I want to thank you guys for joining me for Dragon Rider training today, and I hope to see you next week for part 2.